I am the only innocent and honest person in South Africa. Not even General Mkhwanazi comes close because he's a thief and a criminal, and I've come to expose him." Those were the exact words that came out of the arrogant Paul O'Sullivan when he walked into the Madlanga Commission. His entire testimony was focused on General Mkhwanazi. He tried to slander him, he lied, he made excuses, and he even tried to bully the commission into agreeing with him. It was at that exact moment, when he tried his usual bullying tactics on the panel, that Justice Khumalo lost his patience and shut him down completely. He asked O'Sullivan one simple but tricky question, and Paul O'Sullivan fell flat and went completely silent. You should have seen the humiliation on his face. Dear viewers, welcome to today's podcast. I want to remind you today that if you are good, you are good. And at this point, I can confidently say General Mkhwanazi is a good man. If you agree, hit that like button and share this video with everyone so they can see how this old man embarrassed himself. Subscribe to this channel if you support Mkhwanazi and turn on the notification bell because I am a huge supporter of his as well. Type Mkhwanazi is innocent in the comments section below because Paul O'Sullivan just tried to blackmail him. Jabulani, roll the clip.
A long, long time.
What's the point of diverging? What are you seeking to establish, or what are you seeking to convey to us by diverging on this?
Commissioner, if one looks at, and later we will come to it because I've had the media conference of General Mkhwanazi transcribed. If one looks at the transcript, it looks like, wow, this is something that's going on, it's just happening. But actually it's been going on for donkey's years. And to have it suddenly thrust into the public eye on the 6th of July last year, I will be later explaining that in my opinion, that actually there's another motive for what happened last year, and we'll come to that later, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. And in fact, the point about Senior Superintendent Pete Mayer you make at your page 3, at the top of page 3, that first paragraph, what you just alluded to.
Yes, I mentioned, sorry, ma'am, I didn't catch
No,
it.
I was saying the point about the arrest of Senior Superintendent Pete Mayer.
Yes, yes.
You make it.
I've gone through my statement and highlighted what I consider to be the relevant, vital components. So 1.1, I've used the headline, penetration of the criminal justice system by organised crime is not new. And then I've said, despite General Mkhwanazi's dramatic press conference where he purported to blow the whistle on infiltration of the criminal justice system by organised crime, criminals have been able to successfully penetrate the criminal justice system long before 6th of July 2025. There are many instances of such, and I will deal with some very well-known matters below. And then I've said the point needs to be clear. This is not a new phenomenon. It's been going on for very many years. Not only is it not new, but it will also be my evidence that General Mkhwanazi has known about the links between organised crime and the police for many years. It's not something he suddenly became aware of last year. I will also testify that one of the cornerstones of General Mkhwanazi's complaint, interference by the Minister of Police, is something that happened way back in 2011, at which time General Mkhwanazi elected to unlawfully comply with said ministerial interference. And I'll come back to that later, Commissioners.
Thank you. Just two questions for me before we move to the next topic. You suggest that, as you call it, the penetration of criminal justice system by organised crime is not new. Would it be a
You see, Paul O'Sullivan went to the ad hoc committee and lied, claiming that General Mkhwanazi was bribed with a Louis Vuitton bag. Today, that exact lie came back to haunt him. At the Madlanga Commission, anything you say must be backed up by evidence. In this next clip, I'll show you how Commissioner Khumalo starts dismantling him piece by piece, until O'Sullivan finally confesses that he doesn't even have proof of this alleged Louis Vuitton bribe. At that exact instant, Justice Madlanga stepped in and the entire atmosphere changed. Paul O'Sullivan was completely destroyed. Jabulani, roll the clip.
Supplied that to General Mkhwanazi. As a result of what I found out, I then phoned that witness and told him to go into hiding because I believed that they would have tried to murder him.
Now, at your paragraph 1.3.6,
Maybe before you do
Yes.
1.3.6, Mr. O'Sullivan, you, in 1.3.5, you said that you received this call from Mr. Mabasa unsolicited after you had given, I think you said, General Dramat. In your statement, you say General Shadrach Sibia. Is that a correction? Is it Sibia or Dramat?
I think it was both of them.
Well, later on, you do speak of giving them both a report.
Yes.
But here at the beginning, where you speak about what results in the unsolicited telephone call from
Yes.
General Mabasa, you say you had shared information of your investigation with Sibia. I just want to correct the fact. Is it General Sibia? Is it Dramat?
It was General Sibia and General Dramat.
At this point.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever I supplied to General Sibia at that moment in time, I used to also supply to General Dramat because I didn't want a single point of entry. I wanted there to be knowledge at different levels within the police about what was going on. In fact, I even went to the office of General Dramat and had a meeting with him about Rada van Kretcher.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. At your paragraph 1.3.6, you say about an hour after you left General Mabasa's office, you got a call from a source advising you that he has been informed by Mr. Kretcher that General Mabasa was on his way to see him with a file he had obtained from you. Now, I'm not going to ask you who your source is.
In paragraph 1.6.2, you say this gentleman is alleged to have gifted. Do you know who makes these allegations? Do you know who the source of the allegation?
Say again, I didn't catch you.
Paragraph 1.6.2 on page 17 of your statement.
Yep.
The name of the gentleman is mentioned there. And
Mr.
you say,
Kistia.
yes, it is he's alleged to have gifted expensive
It's what's
bags.
in the article.
So you're relying on the article?
I'm relying on the article, and that's why I'm saying this is from the article. Mr. Kistia is alleged to have gifted these Louis Vuitton bags.
But you don't know who makes the allegations. You don't know who the source is.
Commissioner, if you look at the article, it doesn't give a name.
No, I'm asking
fact-
you, Mr. O'Sullivan, forget about the article. I'm asking you sitting here
Yeah.
today. Do you know who makes the allegations or who is the source that makes the allegations?
My understanding, and I've put it here in my statement, is that it was Brigadier Rass, a female brigadier who went on the journey with them. And that's on page 18.
Where he references annexures S1 and S2, Commissioner.
Yeah. So my understanding is that Brigadier Rass was also given a Louis Vuitton bag, but when she returned to South Africa, she handed it in because she said she didn't want it because she knew that Inbanat and Kistia either was going to be charged or she knew that there was a corrupted relationship. Inbanat and Kistia is currently on trial with General Pashlani for corruption involving vast sums of money, millions and millions.
I just wanted to make sure that you are not attributing to her things she did not say.
Yeah. Sorry?
Did she say that? Or is that what you assume she said?
I received information that she was on that trip and she handed the bag in. I've never spoken to her.
Okay.
Okay?
Sorry, Mr. O'Sullivan. I'm looking at what Commissioner Khumalo just referred you to in paragraph 1.6.2.
1 point?
Where Commissioner Khumalo just referred you to, 1.6.2, the part that says, however, I was able to later confirm the allegations from a source. It seems a female brigadier, that's the brigadier you referred to. I think you gave a name just now, or not?
Correct.
Yes. was
It's on the next page.
yes, the brigadier was on the trip to Europe and also received a bag which she then handed to IDEC. I'm comparing that with what appears in the article that you say is your basis
That
for.
doesn't appear here.
Yeah, because at page 335, here's what the article says, the third paragraph at 335. I'm reading the last sentence. The two, that is General Masemula and General Mkhwanazi.
So which paragraph?
The third paragraph at page 335.
Yes.
I'm reading the second sentence, which is the last sentence of that paragraph. It says the two returned home with luxurious bags while their colleague, I assume the colleague is the brigadier, or not?
So, Commissioner, in my opinion, this story is possibly slightly wrong, because my understanding is that the person that was snubbed wasn't snubbed, but also got a Louis Vuitton bag and brought it back to South Africa and handed it in with a sworn statement.
Oh, so that part of the article is wrong.
Pardon?
So that part of the article is wrong.
Yes.
Oh, all right. I just wanted to check that because you
That's
basically.
my understanding,
Yeah.
Commissioner. Yeah.
Can I just clarify from your response, the question and response by Commissioner Khumalo, and your reference to that Brigadier Russ, your statement as it reads does not say she reported General Masemula and Mkhwanazi.
And we're utilizing at the highest level in the criminal justice system their contacts to enable them to continue with their criminal activities undetected.
Thank you. If you are ready, then we're ready to turn to the next set of relationships, and this time it's between Rodovan Krecher and General Mabasa on the one hand, and Colonel Steyn on the other.
Yes.
I would perhaps suggest that you consider reading paragraph 1.3 and overleaf under the heading background. 1.3 at page 5.
Yes.
That would give us an introduction into the topic. And then you could highlight what you consider particularly important under background at page 6. You don't have to deal with that page extensively.
So for that purpose, I'll just read out 1.3. And I say that in this section, I will first give background information on Mr. Krecher. Then I will deal with senior police officials who I identified were on Madlanga Krecher's payroll. I refer to the case of Krecher for 3 reasons. First, it is another obvious example showing that the issue of criminals infiltrating the police, ostensibly prompting the press conference of General Mkhwanazi, is nothing new. Second, it involved multiple attempts on my life. Third, it involved a corrupt police officer who resurfaced as a witness at this commission. Now, when I refer to him as a corrupt police officer, that is my opinion, because he hasn't been convicted of that, but I'll explain why I refer to him as a corrupt police officer. And then, if I may move forward, I've given some background information on page 6. It's not my intention to read through that. It's there, it's on the record.
Yes.
In respect of page 7, I talk about Mr. Krecher and General Mabasa.
So that is the first relationship with Mr. Krecher.
Exactly. And what I talk about there, and what I've written there, that's my sworn statement. I can say it much quicker than what's written there.
Yes, please.
What happened was, I was investigating Madlanga Krecher for a myriad of crimes, lots of crimes. And by the way, I was doing this as a public interest matter. You will notice from my CV that I received awards in 2000 and 2001 from the Canadian government and the Australian government for activities that I used to expose and deal with human trafficking in South Africa, not in other parts of the world. But I got those award commendations from the Australian and Canadian governments because they recognized the work that I was doing. And I had identified Radovan Krejcir as being heavily involved with a gentleman from a chain of strip clubs known as Teasers. And I had identified that he was involved with importing, for the want of a better expression, ladies to work in these type of clubs. And I was trying to get the police to take action against him. And in every turn I was failing. I couldn't get the police to pay any attention to it. And I had written to Anwar Ramat, who at the time was the head of DPCI, and I sent him a very detailed breakdown of what I believed Radovan Krejcir was up to. And then all of a sudden I got a call out of the blue one day from the crime intelligence head in Gauteng, which was Major General Joey Mabasa. And he phoned me out of the blue. I hadn't been in communication with him ever before that. And he invited me to his office. I went there and he told me, no, he heard I've got information about Radovan Krejcir and he wants to take down Radovan Krejcir. I thought, wow, this is great. So I gave him a file on Radovan Krejcir. An hour later, I get a phone call from a source who's present in a meeting with Radovan Krejcir and tells me, Paul, that guy you've just met with, you don't know what you're doing. I said, what do you mean? He said, that guy is on his way to see Radovan Krejcir with the file that you've given him. So I thought, wow, this Major General in the police is now going to see this criminal that I'm investigating. So let me see what's going on here. So I carried out my own investigation into General Mabasa. And what do I find? I find that his wife is a director of a company with Radovan Krejcir's wife. I was shocked. So, of course, I exposed all this. And what I find to be ironical, and it's covered on page, at the bottom of page 7 and page 8, is that the wife of General Mabasa became a director of that company on the 10th of October, 2009. And she resigned as a director of that company on the 30th of June, 2010. And it's no coincidence that the date of her resignation is 2 weeks after I had exposed the fact that General Mabasa's wife was in business with Radovan Krejcir's wife. And it was all over the media, and then she promptly resigned. Needless to say, my complaint, which is a very serious complaint, which I sent to General Zermatt and General Sabir at the time was the head of DPCI in Gauteng, and I sent them a very serious complaint, and within a week or two, General Mabasa was suspended, and then he was later given a golden handshake. But what was interesting to me is that the registered address of that company was 64 First Avenue in Edenvale. And it came out during the trial of the murder of Uwe Gambala, a German who had been kidnapped from the airport and murdered. It came out during the trial that he was actually murdered at 64 First Avenue in Edenvale. So when you start putting all the pieces of the jigsaw together, it meant that General Mabasa was now heavily involved with Radovan Krejcir. And I think if you have a look at the annexes, which I've referred to, on page 8 at 1.3.7, there's an Annex E, which deals with the actual murder of Lolly Jackson, this owner of the strip clubs. That's worth reading. It explains exactly what happened and how he was murdered by Radovan Krejcir, and how, after the murder, this fellow Smith, whose real name was Luca, met with General Mabasa, and General Mabasa told him he better pack his bags and get out of the country quick. And then Annex F deals with it's a newspaper cutting that deals with the fact that General Mabasa left the police unceremoniously and was paid out a 3.5 million golden handshake, when in fact he should have been arrested and prosecuted for corruption, but nothing of that happened. And the point, and I'm going to make it again later on, that whenever you get these senior generals, in the cases that I'm referring to, who should have been arrested and charged with corruption, They're in fact getting golden handshakes and let off the hook, and they go. So what you don't have is you don't have the, what I call the head on the pike that you need to have in the police service, so that if a person steps out of line, there needs to be some demonstration that if you step out of line, you're going to be in trouble. But actually in the police, if you step out of line, you either get moved to another department within the police, and I'm going to come to examples of that later, or you get a golden handshake and you're released from the police.
Before we deal with that detail then, that would take us to your Annexure G and H, which are affidavits you obtained at page 9. But before
Yes.
we turn to that detail, if I could just clarify a few things with you. At your paragraph 1.3.5, you indicate that you received an unsolicited telephone call from Major General Mabasa, who then was the Gauteng Provincial Head of Crime Intelligence. You had a meeting with him, and then you testified that you, after he had engaged you on the investigations you were doing on Mr. Krecher, you gave him your file on your investigations.
Correct.
My question is, did you give him the original file? Did you retain a copy for yourself? Are you able to share with the commission the contents of that file as you gave it to General Mabasa?
Obviously, I can share it with the commission. I don't have it with me right now, but it was effectively, in fact, I didn't give them the whole file because some aspects of the work I was doing I hadn't completed. So what I gave him was what I had completed at that stage. And that was the file that dealt with the money laundering that was going on with a gentleman by the name of Alekos Panayai, who was the bank manager for Cyprus Bank in South Africa, who was doing money laundering between Radovan Krecher and Lolly Jackson. And that's what led to the murder of Lolly Jackson, because Radovan Krecher would pay an amount of money into a bank in Cyprus, and then Lolly Jackson would give him a bag, a duffel bag or whatever, with the equivalent amount of rand. So he would get a bag with 2-3 million rand, and he would do a transfer. And what happened is what led to the murder. And if you look at these Annex E, you will see it. It details the fact that actually the final transfer they did, Radovan Krecher presented a fake document indicating that he had transferred money into the Bank of Cyprus, when in fact he hadn't transferred any money at all. And Lolly Jackson then handed over a duffel bag full of rands in cash, and there was no concomitant transfer into his bank in Cyprus. So that caused the animosity between them, which ultimately led to the murder of Lolly Jackson.
Now, that is what you were investigating at the time.
That's exactly, and that's what I handed over to General Mabasa. Because I'd interviewed this bank manager, and I'd taken a very detailed sworn statement from him, and I supplied that to General Mabasa. As a result of what I found out, I then phoned that witness and told him to go into hiding, because I believed that they would have tried to murder him.
Now, at your paragraph 1.3.6,
Maybe before you do one.